What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, we're living alongside artists who will be in history books centuries from now? Today on Galleria, I'm counting down the 10 most famous painters alive. Creators whose works are shattering into auction records, drawing museum crowds larger than rock concerts, and reshaping what painting can be in the 21st century. From a 95-year-old Japanese artist who turns her hallucinations into immersive universes, to a British painter who makes flesh look more alive on canvas than in person. These aren't just painters. They're visionaries whose work you need to know now. Let's dive in. Imagine standing in front of a painting of a nude woman who's so massive, so monumental, she seems to be spilling out of the frame and into your personal space. This is the confrontational power of Jenny Saville's work. Discovered right out of art school by advertising mogul Charles Secchi, Saville exploded onto the British art scene in the 1990s with paintings that turn flesh into a battlefield. Up close, her brushwork dissolves into chaotic smears and swirls. Step back, and these marks magically coalesce into hyper-realistic bodies, bruised, scarred, and stubbornly alive. In 2018, her painting Propped sold for $12.4 million, then a record for a living female artist. Not bad for someone who was once told women couldn't be great painters. Next time someone tells you painting is dead, show them a Jenny Saville canvas and watch them try to look away. Spoiler alert, they can't. If you don't see it, make it. These words have driven Kerry James Marshall to create something revolutionary. A vision of black life so powerful, so unapologetically magnificent, it's rewriting art history before my eyes. Growing up during the civil rights movement, Marshall noticed something striking about the museums he visited. Black people were virtually invisible. His response? To create monumental paintings of black figures rendered in skin so deeply black, it absorbs light like a black hole. The effect isn't just stunning, it's a complete reimagining of what blackness can look like in Western art. In 2018, Sean Diddy Combs purchased Marshall's painting Past Times for $21.1 million, then the highest price ever paid for a work by a living black artist. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone, a black entrepreneur buying back the visual history of black America. Marshall's work doesn't just hang in museums, it's changing them from the inside out. Sex, death, flesh, paint. These four obsessions collide spectacularly in Cecily Brown's canvases, creating visual explosions that feel like Renaissance paintings thrown into a blender with abstract expressionism, and somehow emerging more thrilling than either. At first glance, Brown's large-scale works appear as pure chaos, frenzied brushstrokes in fleshy pinks, blood reds, and earthy browns. But keep looking. Suddenly forms materialize. Tangled limbs, open mouths, fragments of bodies in states of ecstasy or violence. Then just as quickly, they dissolve back into abstraction. It's like trying to remember a vivid dream as it slips away. I want to make forms that are either just dissolving or in the process of forming, Brown once explained. This in-between state creates paintings that never fully settle. They remain as restless and alive as the desires they depict. In an age where I can access any image instantly on my phone, Brown reminds me what only painting can do. Capture the beautiful mess of being human in all its physical glory. Is it a memory? A dream? A nightmare? Standing before a Peter Doig painting feels like entering someone else's flashback, familiar yet impossible, like a place you visited only in sleep. Take his iconic white canoe, which mysteriously sold for $11.3 million in 2007, shocking the art world and Doig himself. A lone canoe drifts on a lake at twilight, its reflection perfectly mirrored in water that somehow doesn't look quite like water. The surrounding forest feels both inviting and ominous. Everything appears slightly off. Colors too vibrant, reflections too perfect, perspective slightly skewed. Born in Scotland but raised between Trinidad and Canada, Doig paints from a mental geography that spans continents. He often works from found photographs or film stills, distilling these secondhand images through memory until they become dreamscapes that feel both deeply personal and strangely universal. In a digital age obsessed with the new, Doig proves that painting's old magic, its ability to transform reality rather than merely capture it, remains its greatest power. History is having a meltdown in Adrian Ghenie's paintings. Dictators, scientists, and art historical figures appear melted, smeared, and grotesquely transformed, as if reality itself is being warped before my eyes. Growing up in communist Romania, Ghenie developed profound skepticism toward official narratives and propaganda. This distrust now fuels paintings where nothing stays intact. Using palette knives, scrapers, and other unconventional tools, he creates surfaces that feel violently manipulated. Faces blur into abstraction. Bodies disintegrate. Environments shift and collapse. At just 47, Ghenie has experienced one of the most meteoric rises in art market history. His painting Nickelodeon sold for $9 million in 2016, just 7 years after his first solo show. Critics call him the painter of the anxiety of the information age, capturing perfectly how our understanding of history continuously ruptures and reassembles itself through new revelations. In an era of fake news and alternative facts, Ghenie's distortions don't obscure truth, they reveal it. I've always been interested in how a painting can make us think about what it is to be human, says Marlene Dumas. But don't mistake this for some gentle humanist project. Dumas' haunting portraits hit like emotional grenades, beautiful, disturbing, and impossible to forget. Working exclusively from photographs rather than live models, the South African-born, Amsterdam-based painter transforms images from pornography, newspaper clippings, and Polaroids into ghostly figures that feel extracted from nightmares or half-remembered dreams. Her wet-on-wet technique, painting into still damp layers, creates bleeding edges and flowing contours where faces emerge like apparitions, both present and dissolving. What makes her work truly unnerving is how it implicates me in the act of looking. Her subjects often stare directly outward, forcing me to confront my own voyeurism. In 2008, Dumas' The Visitor sold for $6.3 million, making her then the most expensive living female artist. But market validation feels almost irrelevant to her project. In a world of easy answers and moral certainty, Dumas offers something far more valuable: paintings that exist in the uncomfortable gray areas of human experience. Have you ever wondered what the birth of a universe might look like? Or perhaps its explosion? Julie Mehretu's massive abstract canvases offer one breathtaking answer: visual symphonies where order and chaos dance in perfect tension. Mehretu begins with precise architectural plans and city grids, which she then layers with whirlwinds of marks, lines, and gestures that suggest both microscopic cellular activity and macrocosmic celestial events. The result: paintings that operate on multiple scales simultaneously, rewarding both distant contemplation and nose-to-canvas inspection. Her 80-foot-long mural for the Goldman Sachs headquarters in New York cemented her status as one of today's most significant artists. But what makes her work so vital for our moment is how it embraces complexity rather than reducing it. In a world increasingly defined by polarization and simplistic narratives, Mehretu offers me a different vision, one where contradictions coexist, where destruction and creation happen simultaneously, and where chaos itself can be beautiful. Color isn't just something David Hockney uses, it's something he believes in. For more than 6 decades, this British master has waged a one-man war against gloom, creating paintings so joyful and accessible, it's easy to miss their radical innovation. His iconic swimming pool paintings capture not just the look, but the feeling of California modernism, the dazzling light, the clean lines, the languid sensuality, but Hockney never stops experimenting. When digital technology emerged, he didn't reject it like many painters of his generation. He embraced it, creating thousands of iPad drawings that expanded the possibilities of the medium. At 87, Hockney still works with the energy of an artist half his age. In 2018, his Portrait of an Artist, Pool with Two Figures, sold for $90.3 million, briefly making him the world's most expensive living artist. But his true legacy isn't about prices, it's about pleasure. In an art world often obsessed with conceptual difficulty and political critique, Hockney reminds me of something easily forgotten: that art can be radiant, life-affirming, and absolutely dazzling to behold. Is he a photorealist or an abstractionist? A romantic or an analyst? Yes, 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 and yes. For over 6 decades, Gerhard Richter has refused categories, creating a body of work so diverse it seems impossible it could come from a single hand. His iconic photo paintings of the 1960s, meticulously rendered images based on photographs, which he then deliberately blurred, challenged photography's claim to truth. Meanwhile, his abstract works, created with giant squeegees that drag paint across canvases in systematic yet unpredictable ways, find order within chaos. These aren't just different styles, they're different worldviews, yet Richter moves between them with unsettling ease. Now 92, Richter holds the distinction of having been the world's most expensive living artist multiple times. But what's truly remarkable about him isn't market validation, it's his persistent skepticism toward his own medium. Pictures are the only way to communicate, he once said, but pictures are always inadequate. This doubt, this willingness to question painting's foundations while continuing to paint, has made him the most influential artist for generations of painters who followed. Dots. Endless dots. Pumpkins covered in dots. Mirrors reflecting dots into infinity. Entire rooms engulfed in dots. For 95-year-old Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama, these obsessive patterns aren't just an aesthetic choice. They're a direct visualization of the hallucinations she's experienced since childhood. One day I was looking at the red flower patterns of the tablecloth on a table, and when I looked up I saw the same pattern covering the ceiling, the windows, and the walls, and finally all over the room, she recalls. Rather than being destroyed by these experiences, Kusama transformed them into immersive artworks that let me temporarily inhabit her perceptual reality. Her infinity mirror rooms now generate block-long lines at museums worldwide, making her perhaps the only painter alive who has achieved genuine pop star status. But Kusama's triumph is about more than popularity. Since voluntarily moving to a psychiatric hospital in 1977, where she still lives, working in her nearby studio daily, she's created an astonishing body of work that transforms personal trauma into universal connection. In her hands, painting becomes not just something to see, but something to step inside. A parallel universe where repetition brings not tedium, but transcendence. These 10 visionaries prove that painting isn't just alive in the 21st century, it's thriving. From Kusama's immersive dots to Marshall's powerful black figures, from Richter's blurred histories to Saville's monumental bodies, each has found new ways to make pigment on surface feel urgently relevant in our digital age. What's your favorite work from these contemporary masters? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this countdown, hit subscribe for more journeys through the fascinating world of art on Galleria. Until next time, keep looking and questioning. Great art demands nothing less